The Australian Law Reform Commission, or ALRC, is currently undertaking a review of human tissue laws. The ALRC is an independent federal agency that conducts inquiries or reviews of laws at the request of the Australian government and makes recommendations back to government on ways to improve and modernize the law and respond to changes in technology, society, and community expectations. The Commonwealth Attorney General, after consulting with state and territory health ministers, has asked the ALRC to review the laws governing human tissue and make recommendations in a final report due in August 2026. You can find the terms of reference for the review of human tissue laws on the website at alrc.gov.au. Over the coming months, the ALRC will be researching and consulting on human tissue laws, talking to experts and specialists in law, medicine, ethics, as well as donors and recipients of human tissue. We want to hear a wide range of views and experiences from everyone, including you. We've just published an issues paper, which introduces the inquiry and explains what we've been asked to do. Along with giving a brief overview of human tissue laws, the issues paper also sets out some aims and principles that the ALRC might use to guide our law reform process, as well as listing some of the reform issues we think might be a high priority. You can read the issues paper now on our website. We've also opened up submissions for the inquiry, which means you can send your thoughts, opinions, feedback, and perspectives on the topics in the issues paper or anything else relevant to the inquiry. Submissions can be written or sent in any other way that is best for you, like a video or an audio recording. We'll also be publishing a discussion paper later in the year, which will ask further questions as well as show what possible reforms we are looking at. We'll also be inviting submissions and feedback then as well. We know making a submission can be a time-consuming process. You're most welcome to make only one submission, for example, after the discussion paper is published. We welcome whatever approach best suits you. When we say human tissue, we mean a range of tissue from the human body. This generally includes organs like your kidneys, liver, heart, or lungs, as well as blood, bone marrow, and other bodily substances, like heart valves, bones, tendons, and corneas. In some cases, human tissue can also include reproductive tissues, like sperm, eggs, and human milk. Some of these tissues are regenerative, meaning they are replaced naturally in the living human body if they are removed. And some are non-regenerative, meaning they aren't replaced naturally if removed from the body. There are various laws across Australia and its states and territories governing human tissue, generally known as the Human Tissue Acts. Many of these were adopted in the late 70s and early 80s, and a lot of these laws haven't been updated to reflect scientific and social developments since then. In addition to the Human Tissue Acts, there are other areas of law that impact upon the use of human tissue and related topics, as well as a range of ethical guidelines and policies and international frameworks. You might know that people can donate human tissue. Donation may come from living donors or donors who have died, and can include blood, organs, and other tissues. Those donations can then be used for transplantation to another person undergoing medical treatment, or for research, education, or the development of medical products. We will be looking at a range of issues, including how donation and allocation of tissue is governed, and how to best protect privacy of donors and recipients. When tissue donations come from a living donor, there are some specific issues that arise. For example, we've been looking at what the differences in legal protection are for regenerative and non-regenerative tissue donors, and whether those differences are still relevant and needed. We are also, importantly, looking at how the law treats donors who are adults or children, or donors who may not have the capacity to make their own decisions. Where donations may come from deceased donors, we need to look at how death is defined in the law, and whether the law should allow interventions pre-mortem, or before death, for the purpose of organ donation. We'll be looking closely at the important issue of consent, looking at consent frameworks and decision-making authority of a person's next of kin. We'll also be thinking about who should be allowed to retrieve tissue and how potential donors can be identified in the hospital setting. Use of donated human tissue is important for medical and scientific research, as well as for educational purposes. In research, human tissue plays a part in studying disease, treatment options, and more. Donors sometimes donate tissue specifically to be used in research, and sometimes researchers may want to use tissue that was removed for a different purpose, such as in surgery or a post-mortem examination. In these cases, issues of consent and oversight are important. We'll be thinking about how the law should address these different research uses. In educational settings, human tissue is used in medical schools or other schools of anatomy to help train medical practitioners and other healthcare providers, and offers valuable learning experiences with real human biology. It's important to ensure donations of tissue or a deceased person's whole body for research or educational purposes are clearly, consistently, and respectfully handled across any such facilities. Buying and selling human tissue in Australia is generally illegal. There are some exceptions to this ban, for example, to allow living donors to be reimbursed for costs necessary to their donation, or for human tissue that has been treated or processed in some way, for example, for use in medical treatments or procedures. In some parts of Australia, it is illegal to advertise for the purpose of trade in human tissue. Also, people sometimes advertise or publicly solicit for a donation of human tissue, which raises complex ethical questions. Looking internationally, it is illegal to traffic in persons for the purpose of using their organs. But the law does not stop Australians from traveling overseas to purchase an organ, a practice known as transplant tourism. We are interested in understanding whether the laws governing trade and advertisement in human tissue are working properly across Australia.